Welcome, welcome, welcome to the very first official episode of Straight Talk with Spaceship. I am your host, Spaceship Oasis the Incredible, and I just want to welcome you here. This may be the only time I actually put this on my page. After today, it more so will be on the Wild Out Radio fan page. Also, if you want to hear the encore production or listen to this again, you would definitely be able to go to our radio station, thewildoutradio.com, and check it out. So, I've done Straight Talk with Spaceship before a couple of times, and we've done it online and on Facebook, and I'm live from Facebook as well, so you all can see me. And so there's times when I do this, and I talk about a plethora of things, but I want to try to not only just diversify my content, but I also want to put some things on our brains that we can think about and we can talk about and we can discuss that can really help us in the foreseeable future. With the protests going on, with everything that's happening in the world, I think that it's very important that we address certain issues and talk about certain things that kind of a touchy subject. And so that's what Straight Talk with Spaceship comes from, to be able to talk about those touchy subjects, to be able to talk about those things that may be happening. And I'm not going to say I'm right. I'm not going to say I'm wrong. I'm going to be from the heart. So if you have something that you want to add to this, there's something you want to discuss, and when you're watching this live, then you can definitely chime in. I will see your comments, and then we can go from there. I want to make sure that you know that this is brought to you by thewildoutradio.com, LOL Bakery, Warren International Travel, and the Tracy Wilson Group. If you would like advertisement or commercial time on the radio station, please contact us on www.thewildoutradio.com. Today's topic is, are we failing our kids? I wanted to discuss that. As most of you know, I am a school teacher in my spare time, if you will. But I'm wondering, because as school is wrapping up for most of us around the country, especially for us here in Texas, I'm on the front line. I see the grades, I see the test scores, I see the knowledge that's being obtained, and I'm wondering, are we failing our kids? And what I mean by that is, are we giving our kids too many excuses not to be successful in this world? Just to give you a little background about me, I am from Flint, Michigan. I was raised by my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandfather had no education, none, not a piece, barely could write his name. My grandmother had up to, I think, a third grade education, maybe possibly fifth grade, if I can remember correctly. I do remember going to night school with her and helping her with her homework. But one thing that was consistent for me was my grandmother knew my grade. She knew where I stood in school. There was never an opportunity for me to hide my grades or my report card. There was never an opportunity for me to lie about homework or anything. There was times when I could go home and say, I don't have homework. My grandmother would say, well, you going to study something? You know what I'm saying? There was never a time where I could be idle on my education, or go home and not do anything, or go home and just go play. Now, saying that, we will get to another topic I have about today, which is latchkey kids. The difference in times and difference in era. My grandmother worked at General Motors from 3 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. She got home about 3:15 to 3:30. My grandfather had to retire from General Motors due to having a heart attack in 1980. So he was home most of the time. But even without education, there was not just a sense of, oh, you're home, just go play. No, nigga, you're going to go in the house and you're going to do some work. So now, as an educator, and I've been an educator pretty much since 2004, I'm noticing that when I do talk to parents, I'm noticing that when I do have the opportunity to work with parents or have conferences with parents, I hear a lot of parents say things like, well, they tell me they never had homework. They didn't know how to do it. They told me you didn't explain it. my first question is, as a parent, and I'm talking to the parents here today, as a parent, why wait until the parent conference when you're getting report cards? The grade is already in the system. Why do you want to wait until the report card to let me know that your kid is telling you they're not getting any homework? They're telling you they don't get to work. Nor are you talking to me about the hardships that your scholar is having in my classroom. That sounds like an excuse. That sounds like something a parent makes up. And when I sit there and I listen to this, the first thing that goes into my mind was like, really? Okay, this is the type of parent I have. You know, you can say it's a stereotype, you can say it's a prejudice, you can say I'm judging, but as soon as you tell me one of those things, I'm automatically thinking this parent does not care about their scholar. Because there's no way that you should let your scholar go a whole school year without bringing anything home and believe that. What's happening now is that you're pacifying your kid. You're giving your kid this cushion to be unsuccessful. You're telling them it's okay to have and make excuses. And I feel like this is one of our big problems because we don't realize how much kids idolize us as parents. I remember a teacher telling me once, don't do as I do as I say do. But the world has changed. The times have changed. So it's not necessarily don't do as I do as I say do. Kids are going to do what you do. And if you're giving them excuses, if you're giving them the opportunity to make excuses, they are going to pattern that in their life. Okay? So now we got the first foundation of this, right? We got the first foundation of, oh, my kid told me I didn't have any homework. My kid didn't know how to do this. And I don't know. Second thing I hear a lot is, I don't know how to do math. Math was my worst subject. Oh, it's so hard. Get a tutor. Figure it out. Read. Do something to connect your kid, because a kid will tell you something is hard. But once again, we're in a different day and age. These kids know how to do so many wonderful things in this world. Kids are so amazing. A lot of my scholars in my classroom are so much more smarter than me, already at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, from things I never learned how to do, you know. And yet we allow kids to have this innocence, right? We let these kids have this innocence within the school system. Oh, they don't know how to do this. Oh, they don't know how to think like this. Oh, it's hard for them. But yet, and I'm going to go back to my latchkey statement, and I'm going to kind of be jumbled today, just to bring out some thoughts or whatnot. But you allow your kids to be at home with adult responsibilities. You cannot expect your kids to have adult responsibilities at home and don't think that they should handle their responsibilities in the school system. Okay? Now, we can talk about, school. Now, whether you believe school is for you or for your kid or they shouldn't go to school, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different ideology right there. That's a whole different belief system. I believe kids should go to school. I know parents that homeschool. That's fine and dandy, but you better stay on your kid's ass, right? It's not about letting your kid do things and letting them have free will, letting them control who you are in life. It is about making sure that they have structure, foundation. One thing I've also learned in the school system, kids like structure. If you are loose with your structure, you're allowing your kid to be loose with their discipline. Okay? If you are loose with your structure, you are allowing your kid to be loose with their discipline. And when I mean discipline, I mean the discipline of studying, focusing, being the best them possible. Okay? Now, so let's go back to this, right? So I'm giving my kid all these excuses. What's going to happen is every time that comes up now, oh, mom, once I hear mom tell my teacher that the reason why my grade is what my grade is and my mom is okay with it, that's allowing me to say this same excuse over and over and over again. Jamar, did you do your homework? No, why not? I didn't understand it. Mom comes in there, looks at the homework. Ooh, I don't know how to do this either. Boom. Homework's not done. Kid comes to school the next day. Mr. Jones, I didn't do your homework. My mom looked at it. She didn't understand it either. Okay, well, come to tutoring. Is it my responsibility as a teacher? Is it my responsibility as a teacher to make sure you come to tutoring? If you're loose, your kid's going to be loose. Okay? If you're loose with that responsibility as a parent, understand your kid's going to be loose with that discipline. If you're not calling me, if you're not being proactive, if you're not being a parent who's saying, hey, Mr. Jones, my kid had trouble with the homework last night. Can they come to tutoring today? Or when do you have tutoring? I will make sure they're at tutoring. Now it becomes my responsibility to call you back and say, hey, Johnny didn't come to tutoring. Susie didn't come to tutoring. Okay? But if you're not pushing your kid to come to tutoring to become better than themselves, then they're not going to always put themselves forward. And this is why I say we are failing our kids. We're giving them a segue. We're giving them an excuse. We're handing them an excuse not to be successful. As I revert back to latchkey kids, I was looking up some stats today, just on this. And between the ages 5 and 12, about 14% of children are latchkey kids. 14%. That's not much, huh? That's 3.5 million children. Okay? So I wrote down initially, do we fail our kids trying to obtain the American dream? And I just changed it to, are we failing our kids? But I want to talk about that because a lot of times I hear a lot of excuses. I hear a lot of situations about why my kid is at home or why my kid is raising these kids. And I'm not insensitive to these reasonings, but we have to think back because these kids that are coming up now, they're our kids. Okay? Let's hit that dog real quick. They're our kids. So when we were playing around in school, when we was pussyfooting, when we wasn't taking college serious and dropping out, and we had to get these mediocre ass jobs because we didn't take the world serious, we didn't understand how our parents truly struggle. It's easy for our parents to say, I struggled with you. It's easy for us to look at how our parents struggle, but we didn't pay attention and say, I want to do better. Then we become and have 3.5 million children that are latchkey kids. Why? Because you have to stay at work late. You got to work overtime. You have to get a second job. Now what's happening? You have multiple kids. The kids raising their siblings. They're becoming the mom and dad in the household. Or they're by themselves. So now they're just doing whatever they want and being reckless. And you're not spending that time. Like I say, my grandmother worked from 3 to 3. My grandfather was off work. Neither had an education. But when I got home, hit them books. Get on that homework. No other questions. I better fake it. But what happens when I'm faking it and I got that book open at that dining room table? What happened is I started reading that book. I did my homework. I can't get up no way. They checked my work. They probably couldn't read it. But I was so scared that I was going to fail them. Not necessarily about the whooping aspect. I was so scared that I was going to fail them that I wanted to finish my work. And also, I had the intricate spirit to want to be the best. I wanted to get out of my situation. As I said, I'm from Flint, Michigan. It wasn't a lot of options there. It was General Motors. You didn't see... let me tell you, I'm be real. I didn't fucking grow up seeing people working in call centers. I didn't see people grow up working at Walmart. Or we had Myers back then. Kessels, excuse me. Or, Hamley Brothers. I didn't know those people. Those were older people. I saw kids working fast food restaurants, which I don't see now. We don't force our kids to work at a younger age, which I believe they should. I believe they need to learn responsibility. But I also didn't see people aspiring to work in these situations. Okay? I saw growing up, there was not a discussion about not going to college. There was not a discussion about, I'm just going to take some years off. It was, I need to graduate high school and I need to go to college. I grew up on a different world. I wanted to go to Hillman. You know what I mean? So now it was college, and then secondly it was military. But you really didn't want to go to the military because the military was like really strict, and I was like, I don't like waking up in the morning. I ain't finna just yes sir, sir. People, I didn't know that. No, that wasn't me. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to get my grades, right? So now we have this situation where we're not cultivating our kids to want to do better. My daughter's 14 years old. I'm talking to her about college. I know what she wants to major in. I know what school she wants to go to. Let's start working towards that. Now, also at the same token, I'm going to be honest. My grandparents didn't ask me about college. My grandparents didn't ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up. After I became a teacher, my grandmother was like, oh, you should have been a lawyer because you talk too damn much. You love to talk. Maybe so. But I wasn't thinking that. I wanted to give back. I wanted to be honorable. And plus, at that time, I was a little thug ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think about wanting to be a lawyer. I didn't think I would have the credibility or credentials, the credentials to be a lawyer. But I did learn. I knew I wanted to go to college somewhere. I didn't let that deter me. I didn't let my situation or my circumstance deter me. How much are we really talking to our kids about higher education? Not just because we think that's the thing to do. And I know now in this world, we do a lot of things that we try to do more pro-black things than anti-white things. And I think to a certain extent, going to college is almost kind of like a pro-white thing, right? And we have to get out of that because there's so many great HBCUs that are in this world that our kids can go to cultivate and still get that knowledge, still be in that situation, to excel into higher education. Now, I'm going to kind of subtext this. Because this is one of the beliefs that I have, that I see, and I've talked to people about this. And I definitely want to know your thoughts. So if you are watching, chime in and tell me what you think. I see black men not caring about their kids because they don't have them. Ooh. Am I allowed to say that? I'm a black man. Am I allowed to say that? I don't see a lot of black men talking to their kids about life, talking to their sons about life, about their future. Everything is so gangster now. I am blessed that my social circle of black men that I hang with do these things, discuss these situations with their kids, are active in their kids' lives. But I cannot put this situation or this conversation under a microscope of just my people. I have to look at everybody. I have to look at the whole race. And what I see a lot of times is parents wanting to hold on to their last piece of coolness. And what that means is not giving your kid all the essential vitamins, mental vitamins, they need to be successful in life. Oh, yeah, they know about the club. Yeah, they know about the car wash. Yeah, they know about the barbecue. They know about hanging out, playing domino, playing cards, rapping, modeling, want to be an actor, want to be a singer, want to be a dope boy. Yay. What about your education? My degree from Alcorn State University is the greatest thing I ever did, because that is the one thing nobody can take back from me. That is the one thing that nobody can change about me. That is the one thing I earned and will not let you talk down to me about. When my chips got down about 6 years ago, I had a belt around my neck. I was ready to end my life. And I had to ask myself, I had to catch myself like, wait a minute, I can be a successful black man if I choose to be. Not saying I wasn't always successful, but there was a time in my life where I put all my eggs in the basket of music and entertainment. And while it was lucrative at times, it wasn't consistent. And it became a frustration. It became a tug of war. Do I stay in this music and keep gambling? Because I got 4 kids now. You know, at the time I think I had 3 kids. I have 3 kids now. What am I going to do? Boom, I got a degree. I don't care what that degree is in, even if it's in college studies or general studies. Make sure your kid has something to fall back on. Because the way this world is going and the way it has been going for the last 20 to 30 years is you got to have a little bit. They're going to try to lowball you. Yes, they will give you a job at Walmart for $14 an hour. Sure can. Sure will. Come on and work you like a Japanese slave. And will dismiss you quick than a mug. I'm not saying being a teacher and being in the education field isn't high risk as far as the fear of losing your job, but I don't know too many teachers that have been let go of their job in the middle of the school year for doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like not getting in trouble. If you get in trouble, okay, it happens. You know, if you leave your job for something better, that happens. But if you're teaching, you got a pretty good sound job at least for a whole year. Right? And so I'm blessed to have that degree. But what I'm saying is we got to continue to push our kids. We cannot be okay with not knowing how they're progressing in school. We cannot be okay with just passing them because we don't want them to be embarrassed by how old they are. Oh, he's 15 in the 7th grade. He might need to be. I used to be a proponent of not failing kids or understanding to a certain extent why parents didn't want their kid to fail. But as I got older, I realized nobody has ever asked me, how old were you when you graduated high school? Nobody has ever cared about that. I've been asked, what high school did you graduate from? What year did you graduate? But I've never been asked, how old were you when you graduated high school? And so with that knowledge, it lets me know that mess does not matter. Okay? That mess does not matter. If your kid needs to be retained, this comes from being active in his life, having a good communication with the teacher and other administration and people in the school. Talk to other teachers, talk to the principal, talk to the nurses in the caf. How is Jamar doing today? Do you know my son? How is his behavior? How is his attitude? Because we have this sense of, I know my child. Can't nobody tell me about my child. Guess what? Every child acts different away from their parents. Every child. And that can be the most straight-laced, nice, goody, choo-choo, don't do nothing kid. And I'm not saying they're going to go to the total opposite end of that spectrum, but you don't know how your child acts in a social and emotional environment until you ask these questions. And that is our problem. That is what's wrong, and that's how we are failing our kids. We take our kids for the face value they have. My kids don't always stay with me. And when my boys come over to my house, they are pristine in behavior. They boys. I still have to yell at them sometimes. I still have to pull out the belt sometimes. I got a belt laying on the ground right now. Like, yeah, that's the belt I was going to fire their ass up with, right? But they don't act the same with me that they act with their mothers. So when their mother calls me and says, such and such has been doing such and such thing, I can't sit here and be like, well, they don't do like that with me. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe it's you. They're kids. They're finding their way. They're not a perfect creature. They're an innocent creature, but they're not a perfect creature. They're going to do a lot of things. They're going to say a lot of things. And whether we know it or not, kids do lie as they get up in age. Why do they lie? Let's go back to the first point I made. You're exposing them to lying. You're exposing them to not being honorable. You're exposing them to not telling the truth. So if you're not telling the truth in your life, and your kid sees that, because see, what you fail to realize as a parent, your kid's always watching you. If your kid's in the household with you, they're watching you. They're listening to you. They're seeing what you're doing. They see you. When my kids come over, they see me. They hear me. I have to be mindful of what I say around them. I have to be mindful of what I do around them. I can't sit here and lie to my kids or lie around my kids or talk about all this extra stuff that I may do on social media, that I may do in my comedy, that I may do live on air on the Wild Out Radio, and then expect them not to pick up those behaviors. Okay? I can't sit here and say, oh, I lie, but you don't lie. So we're failing our kids by displaying attributes that we don't even want them to have. We don't want our kids to have the attributes that we are displaying. I know what I do on social media. That's why my kids won't ever be on my social media. And if they do, I have to turn the tide. I was talking to my good friend earlier tonight, and I was talking about the way the world is so crazy that when I was growing up, and when most of us that are watching this were growing up, we were not exposed to the things our parents did. There was no social media when my granddaddy left the house to go run numbers. I don't know exactly where the fuck my grandma worked at to this day, and she's dead. Been dead since 2009. I knew she worked at General Motors. I knew she worked at V8 Engine. But I never saw the inside of her job. I never saw my grandma take a selfie at the club or at the supermarket. My granddaddy went fishing on weekends. He never took a selfie out on Strawberry Lake. Their business was their business. When they had parties and functions, their business was their business. Now, I'm not saying you cannot post these things on social media. What I'm saying is, do you really want to post these things on social media and your kids are on your social media pages? What are you displaying to your kids? And I'm not saying that it has to be so grotesque and so wild. But do we really need to let our kids know everything we're doing? Because that's why they're growing up so fast. They're seeing and emulating what their parents are doing or what their parents' friends are doing. Because we also have to keep that in mind. If I'm on your page, mama, I can see your other friends and what they're doing as well. And B, we have no privacy as adults anymore. The world was so much more private, and when it was more private, I feel like it was a little bit more peaceful. Right? You didn't have everybody in your business. You didn't have everybody out here competing with each other. And the competition it's not with our kids and making sure our kids are developed. Right now, my competition is to make sure my daughter goes to a top 5 school. That's where she wants to go. That's where the goal is. The goal ain't for me to show as much money on Facebook. The goal ain't for me to have the funniest jokes on Instagram. Now, that's in my business sense, but for my personal sense, for me, my goal in my life is to get my kids to a place where they can take care of me, where they can be financially secure, where we can talk about wealth together and build together. But how do I do that? I have to start that at a young age. I have to put that focus on my kids, and I have to make sure I don't fail them. I tell my kids all the time, and I treat it as such. I'm a teacher. There's no way I'm gonna let you fail. We will be over here studying till from dusk to dawn. You're not gonna fail, because if you're failing, then I'm failing as a parent. And I wonder that sometimes when the kid does fail my class, I wonder what the parent thinks. Like, I'm teaching summer school now, and there's still kids who failed this year that still aren't even coming to summer school. Now, they may be out there living their best life. Woohoo, fine and dandy. That's great. But what about your kid? Your kid is getting behind. One thing I learned, kids, all because they get older don't mean they move grade level intellectually. So you're wondering why your 14-year-old can't do division. You're wondering why your 17-year-old doesn't know the PEMDAS. Because A, you're like, no, you're going to promote my kid. You're not going to make my kid look dumb. Hello? I can't make your kid look dumb. You're making your kid look dumb. Okay? So, we're passing these kids to keep a reputation up. We're not focused on these kids' education. We're not pushing them. We're not putting pressure on them. And we're not flagrant with our responsibility and duties as parents. We are currently failing our kids. Back to the men again. I don't see men standing up for men actions. So what do you think your sons are seeing? What do you think your daughters are seeing? How can we effectively tell our kids to pursue these things when going to the club is more important than going to half-price books and reading with your kid, or going to the library? Ask yourself, when the last time you took your kid to the library? Ask yourself that. And I don't want to get into all the, well, they don't have any black books, white books. You can go buy books and go in the library and read. You can go to half-price books or go somewhere, go online now and get African-American novels if that's what your problem is. Today, my daughter and I studied the Willie Lynch letter. Because I need you to know about that. You live in a predominantly white community. You go to a predominantly white school. You got white friends. Your parents, your mom, and their family, they're kind of on the cusp. They're I won't say affluent, but you know, they're blue collar. They're white collar. I said close to white collar. Yeah. So I need you to know about this other part. I need to, as my responsibility. I never want to get into the black man versus black woman situation. We know what it is. Men, we know we have to stand up. We have to be better fathers. We have to be better husbands. We have to be better men of the community. That is a given. But with your kids, you're not a babysitter. I don't know if anybody heard me on that one. Let me say that again. Fathers, you are not a fucking babysitter. When your kids come over, you don't put them in front of a TV and tell them to chill out. We read books over here. We doing computer programs over here. We doing robot projects over here. And it's not necessarily just because I'm a teacher. I don't want to be that father that does not get credit for my kids' success, as selfish as that may seem. I want my kids, when they grow up and they become successful, I want them to say, I thank my mom and my dad. I am a 40-year-old man that cannot say that personally. I can say, I thank my grandparents. They put me on the right path and taught me enough sense to, when things hit the fan in my life, I had other people to cling on to. I'm not going to say my parents, like I say, my grandparents didn't ask me about college and things of that nature. So, you know, but they made sure I did my work at school. They made sure they tried their best to make sure I was disciplined at school. But they put enough into me that the people that I did latch on to, Mr. Rhymes, Mr. Rosborough, Ms. Rump, and other adults in my life that I knew and I paid attention to how or what they did to be successful. I shadowed them. You know, Mr. Rhymes, when I used to get kicked out of school, he wouldn't let me stay at home because he knew what I was going to do. He knew I was going to go on the block. Right? No, I got to go up to his school. He was a principal, so I had to go to his school. I ran chores. I ran errands. I had people to keep me out of these situations. Right? So, men, when I say this, I don't say this as trying to down you. Some of you are doing these things. True. But for the most part, a lot of you are not fucking handling your business as a father, as a man of the community. You're cool. You're too cool letting shit pass. Ain't none of my business, right? It ain't none of my business. I am the type of person that if I see a kid outside with their pants down or cursing, I'm going to check they monkey ass. Right? You're not going to see me outside these doors acting a fucking fool. When I do shows, I'm a laugh, I'm a joke, but when you look at me when I'm not on having a microphone in my hand, you're not gonna see me acting no clown. You're not gonna see me at Kroger acting a clown. You're gonna see me talking to people and uplifting my community. And I think this is my opinion. We got too many pussy ass dudes in this world right now. Us black men, we be pussyfooted. We want to get angry at the white man. We love getting angry at the white man, but we don't get angry at ourselves to do better. We don't get angry enough at ourselves. And that's one thing I learned about even struggling in life, right? Struggling in life, you don't change your life until you get so mad at yourself that all you can do is do better. And so we're content. We're content right now living this materialistic lifestyle, living this rapper life. We're living our best life, right? And why do I say that? Because I see way more women getting graduate degrees than I see men. I see way more women with stuff. Kids or not. I'm not saying kids or not. This is just men versus women. Since since we want to talk about this, and I'm going to get off this in a minute, I see a lot more women pursuing their dreams. I see a lot more women out there getting it. I see a lot more women trying to upgrade their status and their value in life. Men, I see y'all hanging at the corner stores. I see everybody want to be a rapper, an athlete. That's good, but get your ass in college. Get you a degree. Get you a good job. Get you a 401k. Know how to do your own taxes. Get you something to upgrade yourself. Get your master's. Get your doctorate. We cannot continue to talk about how people suppress us if we have these opportunities to do better. Now, one day we will talk about the judicial system and how that puts us behind the 8 ball. But that means nothing. I watched For Life. This man got a whole lawyer degree in jail, and it's based on a true story. So even if you're incarcerated, you can still get your education. But you can't be no fool and make no dumb mistakes. Some mistakes are done. Some mistakes happen. But if you have the opportunity to progress yourself, do that. Because our women are looking for us. Even if you're not in the household, I know my baby mamas call me a lot of times just to talk to my kids. I do pop-ups at my kids' school. You got to do a pop-up on your kid. Something that pissed me off about 2 years ago. My son, he's 8 now, right? So he's about 6 years old. Something happened to him at school, so I had to go up to his school. His mama didn't have me on the emergency motherfucking contact list. Right? His mama didn't have me on the contact list. So I got upset. But then I had to sit back and I had to be upset with myself. Like, am I not in his life enough that she didn't feel like it was important for them to contact me if something happened? Am I not doing what I need to be doing as a father? Because they don't even know me up here. Yes, I'm here to see such and such, I'm Mr. Jones. Oh, you're not on the list. You got to get now I got to get an email sent and a permission from his mama to come up to the school. No. I'm just as part of his life. I'm just as integral in his growth and his manifestation as a young man, as a young black man, as his mother is. I need to be on the emergency contact. So since that day, I have been on all my kids' emergency contact lists. I take off days from work to go check on my kids. I go to breakfast with dads. I go to dinner with dads. I go to donut with dads. I go to parent-teacher conferences. I go to different events. And I see that as a teacher. I don't see a lot of fathers unless you marry. Unless you're married, I don't see a lot of fathers coming to the school with the mothers. You cannot expect these mothers to try to take on all this responsibility because they are creating over 3.5 million latchkey kids because you can't be there. Now, let me reel this shit back in real quick. Women, let me tell you what I've been seeing from y'all. You raise your young black women to be strong, independent. I don't need no man. I don't need nobody. With that mentality, you raise your young black women to have this go get it, strong, get your hustle, which I just said happens. You know? But you raise your young men to coddle you. It's like you give your kids, you have a guilt trip. And I understand. It's tough being out here. It's tough being out here as a black man. I'm a black man. But you baby your young men to where they become dependent upon you. And that becomes a power struggle, because now, since you are the mother, you are the head of the household, you want your men in a reverse situation kind of to give you the household respect. Even as a young man, even as a mother, and I hear this a lot from mothers, I can't teach a man how to be a man. No, you cannot. But you can teach a young man how to be responsible. And part of being responsible is putting that young man in situations that he can be successful. Find him a mentor. Put him in a program. We have a lot of mentors. I've mentored young men. I have some of my homeboys call me and ask me to mentor their kids. I have some friends that call me to mentor their kids. I've mentored certain kids at my school that I notice don't have a good father presence. But you can still teach your young man how to be responsible. You cannot have him sitting there waiting. You cannot be waiting on your son hand and foot all the time. He needs to get a job. I took one of my sons to the barbershop one day. Stay with his mom most of the time. We went to the barbershop. Barbershop was like an hour and a half wait. I said, nigga, get the broom. Let's go sweep, right? Earn some money. He started crying. Right? What you crying for? You don't know how to sweep? No. So you don't do no chores at your mama's house? No. Like, and then we cannot wonder why these kids don't know how to do shit. Because even though they're latchkey kids, they really don't have responsibilities around the house. They don't have we live in more apartments than we live in houses, so they don't really have to mow the grass. I had to grow up, I had to mow grass, shovel snow, flip papers, you know what I'm saying, take out trash. I saw a female the other day in my own apartment complex. She was walking out with her son carrying the trash. What the fuck? What the fuck? Why is you carrying the trash and your son, he got to be 13, 14 years old, is walking right next to you? You make him get that trash and take that trash out. Every Wednesday I knew it was trash day. My grandma didn't have to keep telling me. I don't get this. Why do you have to keep repeating yourself? He don't listen to me. Man, you better figure some shit out. I don't know what goes on in everybody's house. I can't say what's going on in everybody's house. I can't speak for everybody. But for me, it's like, you have to make these young men understand to be accountable. You have to teach these young men how to treat a woman. You want to talk about chivalrous. You want to talk about courting. You want to talk about proper etiquette. But ladies, are you teaching your young man what side of the street to walk on when he's on a date? Or are you just teaching him he needs to pay for the first meal? Are you teaching him how to budget his money? Or are you teaching him to spoil his woman? We have to get out of this mind state of, because he doesn't have a father, or because she doesn't have a father. I didn't have a father. My grandfather was there, but trust me, I love him to death. But looking back on it now, he didn't teach me a bunch of shit. I loved him to death. He was there for me, yes. But he worked on cars every day. Always worked on them before I got home from school. So by the time I got home, he was done. Granddad, you need some help? Nope. Granddad went fishing on the weekends. Granddad, can I go? Nope. I sat outside with Granddad, though. I cut grass. I shoveled snow with Granddad. I washed the car, but I ain't learned how to do no fucking oil change. But what I did do is recognize from the men around me, the people around me, it is okay to have your young men around a good positive influence. Now it's a whole cycle here that everything I'm talking about. Like, but Spaceship, how can you get a positive influence if the men ain't shit? Move your environment. Figure something out. If everybody around you ain't shit, maybe you need to check your friends list. If you are a single mother and that's longing for a male mentor, and you don't have anybody in your life a male around your life that your kid can pay attention to. And we can't wait till it's late. We can't wait until they're 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. Put them in put them in a Boys and Girls Club. Find a big brother, big sister. Be active in the school and find a teacher at the school. It don't even have to be somebody outside of the school. Go up to that school. Talk to those teachers. Talk to that principal. Hey, do y'all have a male teacher up here that can kind of mentor my son, mentor my daughter? That's going to be kind of safe. Because even for me, I didn't do anything without the parent consent because I'm honorable, right? So that might be the best way to find somebody who can mentor your kid in their age group, even if they don't have a male teacher. Because another problem is, in the school system, 75% are females, 50% of them are white females, or I say 40% are white females. I say 35% is black females, 25% are males. So they're getting more calling at school. So fellas, we have to step up to the plate for our communities. I see these protests. I went out to the protests on Saturday. I see so many more women and white folks than I see black men. I was looking to see if I saw any rappers from Dallas. I saw maybe 2. Y'all want to be rappers. Y'all want to be trappers. Y'all want to get this bread. Y'all want to secure this bag. We can't secure this bag until we can secure our communities. And if we can't secure our communities until we secure our self-esteem. And we can't secure our self-esteem until we become a vessel to move and to shake and to work and to focus and to be prominent. You see a young man in the store, tell him to pull his pants up. Don't be scared. You see people on your block not doing something right, talk to them. Don't be fearful. You ain't no punk. And it don't have to come to weapons drawn, because if you open up your heart, and you open up who you are, people will see your spirit. People will know you're good. People don't like fuck people. That's what makes them mad. That's what makes them offended. That's what makes them have for things to fall on deaf ears. Because you don't show yourself to be honorable. So men, in order for us to start thinking, because whether you want to say, women have so much on their plate, trying to work, trying to go to school, to better themselves, because they're just now getting equal pay. Take care of the kids, deal with their family, deal with their friends. All we do as men is deal with our friends, maybe have a job, trying to sell drugs. It's a smaller amount of black men that are trying and actively pursuing success, worth, value, education. Me and my nephew yesterday, he just graduated college at Winston-Salem State University. We talking about Forex. He like, Unc, I'm gonna be a millionaire. Like, that's the kind of conversations you gotta have. How you gonna be a millionaire? Man, I'm working on this Forex, and I think it'd be good for you too, Unc. And I'm like, man, I've heard about it a couple times. So now, since you selling me this, let's go ahead. I'm down with you. What you need? How can I invest in you? As men, are we talking to our nieces, our nephews, our fuck buddy friends? Because I done been over a chick house who I'm boning and see her kids and just don't say nothing to them. Not no more. I'm going to talk to your kid. I ain't got to talk to your kid like I'm boning your mama. I don't have to talk to your kid like I'm going to be your stepdaddy. But I can talk to your kid as in I'm an educator, and I'm not scared to talk to you about these issues that we need to discuss in society. I will pull up on the block and talk to some hood cats and end up having an intelligent conversation. Because I don't fear that. I'm from the hood. We sit in our house all day because it's too hot. It's too COVID. It's too protest. It's too white. It's too this. It's too that. And we're not fighting for our community. And in the process of not fighting for our community, we are failing our kids. They have nobody. They have nobody. You saw Al Sharpton at George Floyd's funeral. But before that, I don't see Al Sharpton a lot. We depend on Obama. But who else do we have? Who do we have in our communities that's standing up? I haven't really seen John Wiley Price say anything. Who do we have in these city streets that's telling our kids to stand up? I don't see any black men out on their porch making up signs to go protest. I didn't see a lot of black men with signs. I didn't have a sign. I just went because I'm protesting. I didn't have a Black Lives Matter shirt on. I didn't have a Power for the People shirt on. I didn't have a Hands Up, Don't Shoot shirt on. I came with me. But I was able to imprint myself because I was able to talk down there. I was able to work with the DJ, and I knew enough people in the city that when they saw me, you could see the relief. You could see the relief of people like Spaceship is a figure in the city, and he's here. Because we have so many of these people that are, I'm not saying beneath us, but on a lower front that don't have the voice that we have. I didn't see any black teachers that I knew from my school there. And there was a lot of people there, so I'm not saying that they were not there. But there was a lot of people that I did not see at a protest. There are a lot of people I am not seeing standing up for our community on a regular basis. Black people getting killed has not stopped in 400 freaking years. We still have to do more. We can't just wait until it's time to loot and it's time to protest. We have to build our communities up. Women, stop being bitter about men. Open your hearts towards men. Men, stop being bitter towards women. Open your heart to being a leader. Once we do these things, we can finally bridge the gap. Are we talking about education? Are we talking about building businesses? Are we building businesses for our kids? My homeboy had D-Town Coney spot down here. And you know who his employees were? His kids. Labor laws aside, he's teaching his kids how to work, how to have their own business, how to do books. Because you don't know how to do math, don't mean you should not allow your kid to know how to do math. Oh, I ain't good with math, so yeah, I know that's going to be tough on them. So what? Figure it out. You can figure out how to get in somebody's Facebook and hack them and read their messages. We can figure out how to do this and all type of stuff. Figure out how to do some math so your kid can be successful. Because honestly, you can't wait until they're in 8th and 9th grade to say you can't do math. You do math with them. All from third. If you don't know how to do more than 4th grade math, you should be doing their homework with them. But Spaceship, I'm busy. I got other kids to worry about. I got work. I got my old lady. My man drive me crazy. I got to cook. Figure it out. Figure it out. Your kids are depending on you to help them become successful. We can't expect kids to just know how to be successful. We cannot expect kids to just, like, out the blue, just know what it takes to achieve. They have to see that. And they can't just see that by just us attaining this American dream. And that's what I put on this paper. And I want to talk about that. Because we say we're trying to be successful for our lives. And we're trying to live comfortable. And we want to live the American dream. Is the American dream really a fucking thing? Is the American dream really a fucking thing right now? Because for me, as soon as shit like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor happened, fuck that American dream. Fuck everything about America. So it's not an American dream. It is a dream of our generations. Stopping generation curses. Stopping 400 years of slavery and being enslaved. We have to stop failing our kids. We fail our kids with our talk. We say these these old time sayings. That shit pisses me off, right? Things that our grandparents and great grandparents said, these little monikers and adages that don't even fucking apply now. They don't apply now. I can do bad by myself. No, the fuck you can't now. You can do horrible by yourself. Anybody can do bad by themselves. But why not do good with other people, with a community? Right? I have to think of some more. But there was a lot of things that my grandparents used to say that, they used to tell me, and I would be like, okay, yeah, but now as I get older, I'm like, that shit don't apply in 2020. That shit applied in 1960. It might have applied in 1950. Might have applied in 1970. Maybe in the 80s. 90s, yeah. But after them 2000s, a lot of that shit didn't fucking apply to us. Get over that shit. Get over that shit. We got to teach our kids new fundamentals, new morals, new values, new structures. Back when they were saying that stuff, there was definitely nowhere near close to equality. There was true segregation back then. We have the opportunities to be successful now. We have the opportunities to get more in life. You know what I'm saying? Fellas, you still have a responsibility to your household. Whichever one it may be. I don't pay late rent. Facts. We are still trying to fulfill our ancestors' dreams. Where are our dreams? Where are our multi-million-dollar companies? We are still hindered by ourselves. We will go spend $150 on Gucci, but won't spend $20 at a black-owned burger restaurant. We have to stop failing our kids. Stop. And another thing I want to talk about, and I'm not going to be on here too much longer. I thank y'all for being here. This is Straight Talk with Spaceship, brought to you by thewildoutradio.com. Make sure you check me out. The podcast will be on the station very, very soon. So if you missed any parts of this, you can go back and listen to it. But we got to be careful about being our kids' friend. I love my kids. I have an amazing time with my kids. But I tell my kids at school and I tell my kids at home, I am not your mother friend. I am your dad. I am your surrogate dad. I am your teacher. I can possibly maybe be a confidant, but I cannot be your. We don't have the same interests like that. And when you set those lines and provisions, there's a different level of respect. There's a different level of respect that your kids will have for you. I understand that we feel guilty, but why do we feel guilty? Because we don't really feel guilty for what white people did to us. We feel guilty for what we did to us. And by what the mistakes we think we made, which we don't make many mistakes, people. We make a lot of learning opportunities, and we have to pay attention to those learning opportunities not to make them again. But we don't make a lot of mistakes. But we feel like we make mistakes, and we have this low self-esteem ideology of ourselves that when we have kids, that we want to make sure that they love us. My kids love me, and I love my kids, but I don't give a fuck if they like me. If you do something messed up, you're gonna get that issue. I will pull up at your school. I don't have to figure out a nice way to say shit to my kids. I don't have to spare their feelings. I'm giving them teachable moments, and I'm reasonable. I'm not just hardcore mean ass parent that just beat my kids and put them in holding cells and shit, right? This ain't. But I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to change my thoughts, or how I raise my kids, or how I think to raise my kids. I might not be as rough as my mom and dad, or my mom was, or my grandparents was. Like, I don't just walk up to my kid busting them out. My daughter's never got a whooping from me, but my daughter has got chastised. My daughter has got that, all right, calm your ass down now. You getting a little out of hand. Ain't no hee, that's so funny. I don't want to see my daughter dancing. Now she's 14, maybe now. But when she was 7, 8, 9 years old, I didn't want to see her dancing and popping that pussy to no song. And yes, that's what they're doing. I don't care how you call it. If your kid is twerking, she's popping that pussy on camera. And there are things in this world called pedophiles. And then we put it on social media, and then we wonder why certain things happen to us. Because that's the energy we're putting out. My kid is not my friend. My kid is not going to disrespect another adult in my face. No. We are so caught up on defending our kids. Man, we were kids. We know how that shit go. Stop that. Stop acting like your kid an angel. Stop that. My kid get out of line to a motherfucking adult, I'm going to go have that talk with you. And if that talk don't work, then we're going to go to more strenuous measures. You're not going to disrespect no adult. You're not going to go out the house disrespecting anybody. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to look no fool. You're not going to act no fool. Because I have fun. I teach my kids how to have fun in a respectful manner. And that's okay. I don't know too many people. I don't want to say too many names. I have a homegirl, K Slim. I love her relationship with her kids. Because they never fucking get out of line. And they look like they have amazing fun. But then I see some people and their kids talk to them any type of way. They be taking pictures with their kids. And both of them got their middle finger up. The fuck? I don't know what's worse. Those parents or the friends of those parents. Because that's how the circle. Now, we will be communal. We will be communal when it comes to doing some nappy-headed whole shit, some ratchet shit, some bullshit, some fuck shit. But it's very rare that we're communal when it comes to positivity. I don't see a lot of pictures of 3 kids from 3 different households in somebody's house reading books. Do you? And you take a picture of that. I don't see that. I see us posting shit when we want to get likes for something our kid did, like graduation. But I didn't see a picture you taking a picture of your kids studying with their friends. That's what they need to see. They don't need to just see the graduation. They need to be remembered of the process. I take a lot of pictures of a lot of shit I do in the process of. I'll take a picture of me or do a video of me in the studio recording a song, right? Because I want to see how I interact in the process of the struggle. A lot of y'all might know, I do videos of me in the classroom. I will go live in class, right? And I go back and I watch those things. Our kids can't just see the end result of something. Yes, it's nice to see that income tax check, right? Oh, that refund check. But they don't know how hard you worked for it. They don't know how hard they worked for it. You got to remind them, look, last year you were struggling in math. You remember this problem here? I took a picture of it. And you figured that shit out. So this shit here, figure this shit out. Just like you did last year. Love you, Rip. Love you, CC. Yes, what happened to the yes ma'am, yes sir kids? I don't know what the fuck happened to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened to them. My kids do it. Oh, anybody that's been around me with my kids know. I am amazing with the look. I'm amazing with the look. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to teach your kid. I hear so many kids, and I know it's funny, but I hear so many kids at school when they get mad at teachers. You know the number one thing they say? Well, she don't respect me. She don't respect me. If they ain't gonna give me no respect, I ain't gonna respect. Man, you a motherfucking kid. You don't get to tell somebody about respect. Spell it. You respect your adults. You respect me as your parent and as an adult. You don't respect me as a friend, because we treat our friends way different than we treat our parents. Me and my mom does not have a good relationship. But I still give her a different level of respect than I would give a friend. Right? And we have to remember that, because what happens then, your kids learn that parent-kid respect for their kid. But if they're learning that friend respect, and then let's be real, grandparents are getting younger. They're still active. They're not old. Like my grandmother wore, I thought wigs were only for old people, because that's what my grandma wore. She had one braid wrapped around her head. She looked like Progs from the Fugees when she took her hair off. I didn't see young girls with wigs and weave. So I thought only old people wore wigs. My grandma was old. You know what I'm saying? Grandparents are getting younger, so they're still in the loop. So now your kid, your kid becomes 14, 15, 16 years old. Grandma 56. Grandma 55. Mama 35. Mama and kid both watching Love and Hip Hop. Are y'all discussing it? Are y'all talking about it? Are you seeing the inconsistencies between our community? Or are you just laughing at it and saying, oh, they crazy? I'm not saying you can't do certain things, but are you educating your kids? You're failing them. You're sitting there watching Love and Hip Hop, Growing Up Hip Hop, all these, I don't know all this shit that's on TV, right? And you're not educating on them on A, this is fake. B, how would you do in certain circumstances and situations? Because that's really what you should take from it. Take a positive spin from it. Okay, if you and your friend was in this situation, those are good social, emotional learning opportunities. But you're not doing it. You're laughing with them. You're joking with them. Right? It's funny to you. It's funny to them. And then you wonder why you have to tell them not to do something, or feel like they're not listening to you because you're their friend. Let me tell you, J-Rock brought me a mint leaf, a mint plant, about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. Maybe 2, 3 weeks ago. She said, okay, you can cut the leaves off, and then you got to water it and put it in the thing, and it regrows and stuff. I said, oh, so I can get more mint, right? And the way J-Rock was talking to me, I knew that she didn't think I was going to do it. So when she came over yesterday, I said, the plant's outside. And she said, oh, you got a little sprout showing. I said, yeah, motherfucker, I told you. And she was happy that I did it. With a friend, you take their advice, but you don't necessarily do it. Parents, you should have that fear of, I don't want to disappoint my parents. I don't want to make my parents sad. You know, like, as a teacher, that's what I do. I don't get angry at my kids. I make them feel I'm disappointed. That hurts them even more. And so, as a parent, there's just a different level between being a parent and being a friend. You get what I'm saying, right? As a parent, your kid gonna hold you in higher regard than a friend. I love J-Rock to death, but I don't do everything she tells me to do. My mom could call me right now and ask me for some money, and I may cuss her out and be mad, but I might possibly send it to her, right? Because that's my mama. And I always want to honor my mama. My mama said, I need you to come to Atlanta right now. I'd be like, look, I'll get my work computer up, and I'm on my way to ATL. And I don't talk to my mom. But it's just a different level of respect. Okay? So, I just want to, I want us to stay focused, stay honorable, stay involved. Don't let your kids be raised by social media, electronics, and those things. We have to stay involved. We have to just tap in. Like sometimes I just go walking with my kids and we just walk and we talk. They like being outside, so they don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And let's just talk. Sometimes I don't even know what the fuck you talking about. But I gotta just stay involved. I gotta tap in. I can't leave them here and just turn on the TV and say, go at it. That's not fair to them. That's like my mint leaf. If I keep my mint leaf without water and without sunlight, how do I expect for it to grow? With your kids, if you're not nourishing them, if you're not feeding their soul, if you're not feeding their spirit, and you're just assuming that because they're there and you give them everything that they need, physically, materialistically, that they should grow. They should have sense. I don't remember if I just had sense enough to know certain things. But I do know that I had grandparents and people in my community that pushed me to do certain things. I didn't want to fail. I wasn't cool with the sluggish, I don't give a fuck attitude about education or my future. I wanted to be a gangster. I was in the hood. I was known in the hood. I was, GD74 a little bit, all that whoop-de-whoop. But it wasn't real. I wasn't real in that shit, but I was respected. I could do that shit to the gangster. I could, I hung with them motherfuckers. We did our thing, but it wasn't real. I didn't get beat in and shit. I just was respected like that. You know what I'm saying? And I guess I'm thankful for that because I never got too deep in it. But I wanted to be them cats too growing up. But there was a point where I wanted to go to college and get away because I see everybody dying. Like, wake up. Like, we got to wake up. We see what happens when we're not educated. We see what's happened when we're still not educated, when our kids aren't educated. And that's the only way, because we needed to be educated. Our parents was partying. That was a party time. That was the 90s. Think of the 80s and 90s was a good fucking time. That's the best music to me in the world. So imagine if I like it as a kid, what my parents like. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. They still went out. Soul Train was popping. Right? We ain't got no Soul Train no more. The Soul Train was popping. But we have to feed our kids with the right stuff. We have to take our time. We have to sacrifice our time. We have to be involved. We have to be intentional. You could go up to that school and say, let me see your grades. That takes one day. That takes one day. Get on those teacher apps that the kids have. See those grades. You have apps on your phone. You go to Facebook every day and don't know your kids' grades. I'm going to let that sink in. I'm going to give you about 15 seconds to let that sink in. You go to Facebook every day but don't know your kids' grades. Exactly. You should feel like that. You should feel like that. There's no excuses nowadays. And once we become intentional, and I'm gonna wrap this up by saying that a reason why so many kids, and I said this, if you're loose with your responsibilities, they're loose with their discipline. They know they can get away with it. They know you're not going to check them. If you stay in their life, you're pushing them this way. You're pushing them into a straight line. You know what I'm saying? It's like sweeping. When you sweep the floor, you might be sweeping from all different areas, right? But you're trying to get it all in one space. With kids, they're all over. They're all over the place. They're kids. You got to get them focused there. You got to tighten that line for them. When you tighten that line, you will see the success rate in our communities grow up. You will see the success rate of our adults grow up, because we have to be the ones to make this line work. So on one side is the father and one side is the mother. It has to be a two-way street, fellas. You gotta line up. It's easy to go, y'all brave as fuck going to protest against these white folk. But I don't see y'all with that same motherfucking energy in your neighborhoods. And that's how I really feel about it. I do not see my men as strong as we need to be in our neighborhoods. I don't see y'all just doing community service. Everything's for $1. Everything for money. Mr. Robert used to go around just to the corner store and fix the shingle, just because the shingle needed to be fixed. Well, why is that? Because black people don't own corner stores in their own neighborhood. Well, why is that? Because black people not investing in corner stores in their own neighborhood. Well, why is that? Black people rather spend money at corner stores in their own neighborhood. Look, man. Figure it out. Figure out what you dope with. Love you, Reese chick. And that's the thing. We'll talk about that. The next show, I'm gonna write that down now. I like that. That's what I might do. I might let y'all give me topics. I want y'all, and I told y'all on my page today, I want y'all to send me in questions. I want y'all to send me in thoughts and ideas for us to talk about on here. And just address some issues, you know what I mean? So I'm not scared of that. Inbox me some ideas. But the next one I think I'm going to do is going to be called Pride Comes Before the Fall. Because black folks, we don't like to ask, but we love to beg. Boy, black folks don't like to ask, but we love to beg. I don't even want to talk about that right now. That just hit my spirit, though. That touched my spirit right there. Baby. That touched my spirit. But, you know, who knows? Who knows how often I do these? I may do some off Facebook and upload them to our Wild Out Radio page on YouTube, because we do need to get our YouTube popping. And y'all don't like to go to YouTube for us. Y'all don't like to go to the radio station for us. But I wanted to get on Facebook just to draw attention to this. So that you'll know what to get once you start subscribing to our shit. Because that's where we want to reach the maximum amount of people. I'm not going to put everybody on my page, but I'll put anybody on the radio station page and on the YouTube page. I love y'all so much. Appreciate y'all for listening to Straight Talk with Spaceship. This is your boy, Spaceship Oasis the Incredible. On behalf of the Wild Out Radio, I just want to say once again, stop failing our kids. I love y'all. Be a blessing in somebody's life. It's not about what you get. It's about what you give. Y'all be good. Y'all make sure y'all check us out for Thursday. Let me say this real quick because I can. Remember, we are doing the Essential Father's Day giveaway up until the 17th. You have to the 17th to hit our radio station or our Facebook page. Thought I had it over here somewhere. We had a lot of shit over here. Hold on. Did it fall out? I forgot everything. I got it somewhere over here. Let me see. Oh, well, anyway, we are doing a Father's Day giveaway. My brother Red Hope from Poetic Foods out of Houston, Texas. He's a celebrity chef. He will be coming to a father's house and feeding them for Father's Day. We also had a dessert sponsored by LOL Bakery. I had another dessert by the plug Tri-Coastal. Miss Shanika said she was going to donate a dessert. I had a candle donated also from Miss Netta. So we got a lot of packages and prizes if anybody else wants to donate to the Essential Father's Day experience. And they're going to come, like I said, Red's going to come to your house and cook for you. This is what's going to happen. Somebody has to nominate you, though. So ladies, fellas, or if you're on here, if you are in the Texas area, Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, nominate a father. Nominate a father. And once we get those nominations, they are due by the 17th of July. 17th of June, excuse me. So you have about 8 days. We're going to pick our top 5. We're going to go live and give you a special password. And from that special password, Red of Poetic Foods will pick a winner. And he will come to your house and cook a specialized meal for you on Father's Day, which I think is super dope. So if you need details, hit me up. Let me know. But we want to. Mothers get a lot of props on Mother's Day. Fathers, we get the short end of the stick. We get the short end of the stick on Father's Day. So I either get my kids on Mother's Day and get my kids on Father's Day type shit, right? So we want to give out some things for a father. I'm looking for a masseuse. If we have anybody that knows a personal masseuse that would like to donate a massage special or something to a father, please reach out to us. But if you have a father in mind, you tell us why you are nominating that father. You either send it to our Facebook, The Wild Out Radio Facebook page, or thewildoutRadio@gmail.com and put Essential Father's Day Concert as your subject. I mean, Essential Father's Day package as your subject. I love you all. I love you all. I love you all. Y'all be dope. Y'all be dope. Y'all be dope. I am gone. This is the first official podcast. Straight Talk with Spaceship, man. This was fun. So y'all be good. Peace.